Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Come on in, get comfy. It's time for another episode today. We are so excited that you're here with us today because you could be anywhere on the internet and you've decided to be here celebrating with us another episode. I'd like to invite you to take a minute, click the love button, click the share button so that more people can enjoy this show with us today. My name is Jessica Dugas. I'm an intuitive mentor and energy healer.
And my name is Donna Brown, and I'm a holistic wellness practitioner. And this is The Breakthrough. It's the spiritual view for your soul and mind, where we dig deep on today's spiritual hot topics and inspire you with stories of those breakthrough moments that change our lives. So click on the video, come on in, say hello, click the like button, click the love button. We love hearts, so click away. Throughout the show, you'll be hearing from both spiritual leaders and friends. And of course, we want you to chime in by commenting and using those reaction emojis.
Awesome. So we have another amazing show today. Our guest is the beautiful Teresa Warren, who is an Akashic Records practitioner, and she's going to be sharing with us about her breakthrough moment where she realized that spirit always has her back. And I know a lot of us can relate to that sort of breakthrough awakening kind of moment. It's going to be an amazing story, but first we've got to get to your hot topics today. We have two fabulous panelists with us today. We've got Heather Clark, our declutter coach and consulting, helping us to make room in our lives for these breakthrough moments. And we've got our friend Tara Abram, who's our meditation teacher, designer, photographer, the Jane of all things. She's going to help us keep grounded in our breakthrough moments. So without further ado, it's time for Hot Topics, Donna.
So today's hot topic question, Jessica and panelists, is, do you have compassion? Compassion and tolerance are not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength. So check out wherever the little sign is. Wherever it is, check it out. So Jessica, do you have compassion?
I love this quote that we found from Dalai Lama because I think it's really it's so timely right now, because I think we've really been in a time where everybody is especially in the spiritual community, and I don't know if you ladies have noticed this as well, but there's a lot of push for us to just embrace our strength, embrace our courage, and which is a great thing. But I think it's important to remember that by being tolerant of other people, by being compassionate to other people, that's not losing our strength by any means. And I think a lot of times, in fact, Lori, who's one of our panelists, talks about this a lot. We're always talking about with her kind of this balance that we have between masculine and feminine with each of us. And sometimes when we get into this very masculine energetic space of I am strong, hear me roar kind of thing, we can lose a little bit of that softness, that compassion, that softness for other people and heart for other people. How about you, Donna?
Well, this is actually a really good topic right now, because I feel like I go back to when I first started my business. I'm very compassionate and very emotional person. Mm-hmm. And so I would have people tell me all the time that I was too compassionate, and therefore that made me come across very weak. And so it took me a while to really be able to kind of, I guess, balance that out, because for me, when I get uncompassionate, for lack of a better word, I always feel like I'm being mean or come across like I don't care. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so I really struggle with that. So for me, I think that when I show compassion, I feel like I'm being very strong. I'm have a lot of strength, because I'm actually tuning in to what is going on with my client in that moment. And I'm actually feeling a lot of what that client is going through. which in turn I feel like helps me be able to serve my client better in that aspect, because I am able to kind of tune into where what emotions are going on within them, not necessarily what they're saying. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So how about you, Heather? How do you handle compassion, and do you feel like you're compassionate?
Well, I know for me, before, like many years ago, my compassion was very little, because I found that I marked it with how I was and who I was. Because if I was more of an angry person, I was more like I had things I still had to work through. And so therefore I was like, well, if I'm doing this, you can too. Like it became such a like, okay, but I'm doing it, and whatever, there's somebody with a worse, kind of deal. So learning, since working with the clients online and since working on myself, my compassion has been a lot more open, regardless of how I feel about what I'm going through, because that's what the compassion is about. It's not necessarily what you're doing, it's you're understanding where they're coming from, regardless of where you're coming from. So I definitely have seen a change in me and how compassion, and of course, like you guys were saying, like just because you're compassionate and whatever does not mean that you're weak. So growing up and like that masculine, I had a lot of masculine energy growing up. So learning the feminine energy lately, it's like, oh, okay, so I can still do this and still be the strong person that I am. So what about you, Tara? How do you feel like you've been able to balance the masculine and feminine energy as well?
Yeah, like I have a lot of feminine energy, so I've always been a very compassionate person. Probably to an extreme sometimes, but at the same time too, I think it's just kind of like, it's one of those things. You don't know what's going on in somebody else's life behind closed doors, and you could be talking to somebody with your clients, and they might have a whole ordeal, maybe a sick family member, or a relationship issue, or maybe they're in the process of having a baby. Things in people's lives that could be going on that are very stressful and straining on them, and you don't know that story behind it. So sometimes maybe if somebody hasn't gotten back to you, or they're not responding, and then you go into that that sense of like, well, why did they get back to me and stuff, right? But you don't. Sometimes you just don't know. You might find out, oh, they had all this going on. Oh my gosh, So yeah, I don't know.
That's true.
Answer your question.
It's true about the, I think that was why one of the reasons we really wanted to talk about this as a hot topic is because it's really easy to get into a space of assumption, or even not even assumption sometimes. Sometimes it's just, I think, being wrapped up in our own lives. We will sometimes respond to someone, or we will show up in a way where we're kind of just in our own bubble, and we don't maybe recognize what we're saying, how we're saying it, and we, like you said, we don't know what's going on with someone else. And so there's so many times where misunderstandings can happen and feelings get hurt and all of this. And I think that it's important, I don't know how you guys have had this situation happen before, where maybe you're in a conversation with someone and you say something, and then they respond maybe in a way that you didn't expect them to respond. Maybe they're upset by what you say, and you're kind of taken back, like you don't really understand what just happened, because it's like, I thought I I don't know what I just said there. I don't know what just happened, but they could be going through something, that you just don't realize. I had a video that I posted on my Facebook page last week, where a woman was talking about being in a drive-through. And she said her daughter had dropped something, and she's like, her toddler's having a complete meltdown in the back, and she's scrounging around trying to find the toy that her daughter dropped. And in the meantime, she's got the person behind her laying on their horn and like screaming and swearing and everything else, because she didn't move up with the line when it moved up. And it's like, have a little bit of compassion. No, you don't know what somebody else is going to. And so what she did, instead of having a complete fit, she said, obviously, based on her response, she's going through something. So she paid for her meal or her drink or whatever it was that she had gotten at the window. And because she made the choice to have that compassion. So do you guys feel like compassion is something that is just as much of a choice as a lot of other things that we've talked about?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, it's everything we do, everything we say, everything we think. It's a choice. We get to choose every day. No one's forcing us to have that, that reaction. It's us choosing to have that reaction to however it is. So that person who in the video chose to honk at the other lady, well, instead of, like you said, she chose to pay for her coffee instead of coming out of her car and yelling at her. Because first of all, she's got her daughter in the back seat. What is it going to show her daughter? Well, it showed her daughter that, she was nice and she had compassion for somebody because she didn't know what that person is. Maybe that person is rushing to get to the hospital because she's got a call or whatever the case may be. But it's having that compassion. So yeah, no, I definitely agree for sure.
Yeah. And I do want to take a minute to say hello to all the fabulous people that are watching right now. We have Mona with us. Hello, Mona. Lori, our fabulous panelist, Lori, is saying happy Friday, and she agrees about the masculine, feminine compassion comments. Mona's saying good afternoon. We have Lay joining us from the Caribbean. Much love to you, Lay. Thank you for being here with us. Melissa is chiming in saying it makes total sense. Christy Warnick, our guest from last week, is tuning in today. She's saying hello. Hi, Christy. Emily is here. Linda is here. Hello, ladies. We have a gentleman here with us, my friend Greg McKinnon from up in the west coast of Canada. He is saying he is extremely tolerant of customers, but it was tested recently when a prospect asked something of him, and he's talking about it's feeling insulted by something that a customer had sent him. So, that's what's interesting is any of these moments, right, can test us. We can be tested on how compassionate can we be in this moment. Crystal's also joining us. Thank you so much for being here with us, Crystal. Thank all you guys that are watching, whether on live with us now or on the replay, and let us know how compassion shows up in your life. How do you make the choice to be compassionate to other people? Do you find that compassion is a challenge for you from time to time? Before we finish up hot topics, have any of you had a situation where maybe it was challenging to be compassionate, and how did you deal with that? Now it's all going to come out. Don't all speak at once.
I was going to say, we're not all speaking at once because we're all like, oh, which one?
Because you're having to pick one.
Only one? Can we just man them all together? Yeah. Well, I was going to say, like, Lori, do you have one that you ended up like recently, or did you notice you had one? Because a lot of mine, where it was hard for the compassion part, was before I started doing the work on myself. So that's where I noticed a lot of it was before I started working on myself. I was like, oh yeah, no, that's from that time. That's from that time. So do you notice that as well with you?
I think my biggest thing is really having, remembering to have compassion for myself. And when I fall short of my own expectations of myself, that's where I'm still on a daily basis making it more of a mindful practice to be like, okay, Jessica, are you being loving and compassionate to yourself right now? Could you be a little more of that? So that's my biggest thing, I think, right now. How about you, Tara?
She's muted.
I think that's a great point that you made, Jessica, about having that compassion for yourself, because that's, I think, a big one that's really overlooked. I know for me, I tend to, I have that compassion for others, but that was something that definitely through the work I had to do to work on myself more, to create that compassion, that self-love. So I think that's a really good point, because I think a lot of people overlook that. And,
Yeah.
You should honor that.
Exactly.
And I agree. That's one of my hardest. I'm a lot more compassionate with my clients and my friends and just people in general than I am with myself. Mm-hmm. And I'm a lot hard, which I think we all are. I think everybody is a lot harder on themselves than anybody else could be on top of that. So I agree. Mine is more, I'm not compassionate with myself. Mm-hmm. And that's something that I have to work on a daily basis.
Yeah. And I think, so that's what I think I would like to leave everybody with today, is just that thought. Most of us, at least the people that I have come in contact with in my life, that is, we can be harder on ourselves than any of you could ever be on us. We are harder on ourselves than anybody is on us. And so that's important to remember as you're having to get in these situations where you have to make the choice whether or not you're going to be compassionate in this moment. That's something to keep in mind, that this person is probably harder on themselves than you could ever be on them. So do you need to add to that? Do you need to not be compassionate because they're struggling too? They're having a hard time too. So just something to keep in mind today. It has been a fabulous hot topic. And without further ado, it is
been
time.
10 minutes already?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yes, ma'am. She got the whip out on me.
Time is up. Listen, I'm just trying to embrace the Virgo I don't have today. I'm trying to be organized. I know it. Heather, it's Heather's energy. She's rubbing off on me.
Yeah, believe me, it's okay. I have compassion for that today.
Yes. So without further ado, I want to take a moment and welcome our special guest on the Breakthrough today. As I mentioned earlier, she's an intuitive and Akashic Records practitioner and, of course, a friend. Everyone, please push the heart button, push the share button, and welcome our friend Teresa Warren to the show today. Yay!
Thank you, all of you, you wonderful panel, you.
We're so excited that you're here, Teresa. I would love for you to take a minute, first and foremost, and chime in on how you feel about today's hot topic. How does compassion show up in your life, and is that something that you continually have to work on?
I think it is, because I tend to be a more reactionary kind of person. And as an empath, I can say, oh yeah, I do feel compassion, but there's times where I'm being reactionary, where I'm really not. And so then I like how you guys brought it around to where we got to turn it to ourselves big time, the self-love. But I've learned a way that can help us. Like when you're having an issue with somebody else, it's like me, this person is looking for love. Mm-hmm. Or like me, this person is looking for acceptance. Mm-hmm. Or whatever it is that you feel. And that's a way to jump yourself right into a compassionate mode. So I start practicing that.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Like me, I'm gonna write that down, and that's a good one for those of you that are moms or dads that are watching as well. I think that's a great one to teach our kids about compassion too, is saying that, like me, and going into a statement. That's beautiful, Teresa. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're excited that you're here today, because I feel like this relationship with spirit, I feel like it's kind of an ever evolving thing, but that moment when you realize that spirit has your back I think many of us can relate to this story. So I would love for you to start off, Teresa, by taking us back to a time where you didn't realize that. What was life like for you before you really became connected with spirit?
Well, first of all, I felt alone, like I was going through things on my own, and I felt really defensive. I was, reactionary and defensive. I did not know how much support we really have. And I have brought through things that have showed me now just how much support we really have. Mm-hmm. But before that, no, you feel like you're on your own. You feel like there's nothing for you out there. You give up. You lose sight of who you really are because you feel there's nothing for you. Mm-hmm. Or for me anyway, that's what I went through.
Mm-hmm. So, what were things like for you, Teresa, beforehand, as far as what your life was like? Do you feel like, did you have a lot going on in your life, a lot of struggles, things you were challenged with? And when you didn't have relationship with spirit in your life, was it more difficult for you getting through things then than it is for you now?
It was. I would get through with so much emotion. In fact, I really thought, even as I was learning to have all these skills that we have, I thought there was a threshold. And when we hit that threshold, then we could be as pissed off as we wanted to be. You know what I mean? We could turn it around, lash out, get suicidal, whatever it is we needed. But I kept growing and learning and learning. And so what my story is about, it's really about the relationship between me and my mom. Okay, I rented a home from her for 11 years, and I loved that home. I had everything, a washer, a dryer, I had all my dishes, all my stuff, my rocks. I could walk to the buses where I can go anywhere I wanted, freedom, you know, I could feel empowered and do my stuff. But as I was becoming a light worker and I was learning skills, you think things would have got better with this, right? But no, there was a big test ahead of me. And she threw me out of the house. She gave me 6 months to get out. It's like, okay, 6 months, what do I do? Oh my God, I need a brain to do this. You know, I'm all freaking out, thinking I did not have any support. What am I going to do? And even you did a reading for me one time and says, I got to quit demanding that the help come to me because I'm like desperate. Help me now, right now. You know what I mean? It was like, it was way too scary and way too big, and I lost way too much. I spent the first 3 months catching up on my money, you know, getting out of debt so that I could move. I thought that's what you do, you know, and then I'll have money to get a house. I did not find a house in California. I did not. And so it ended up to like 3 days before I had to be out, and I was sick. I lost my voice. See, all these issues that are showing you, all these hints, I have all these hints around me that spirit was working with me, but I didn't know. So I even lost my voice and I couldn't talk and I couldn't barely ask for help. I had to call the pound to come and take my 4 dogs. Okay. I still cry over those dogs. You know, I mean, talk about compassion. I had to learn. It's like, oh my gosh. So I lost all my dogs. I lost everything. And then my sister, put me on an airplane and sent me to Tennessee. Okay, I'm a California girl. Okay, it's like I'm rock and roll all the way. Don't send me out there to Nashville. Oh my God, what are you doing to me? And so it was like, oh my God, it was so awful. But I can tell you how many skills I learned all the way, and how many blessings were waiting for me here. You know, I'm settled in Erin, Tennessee. I settled at my son's house. Okay, both of my grown-up boys were living there, and my daughter came with me, right? For the first time in my life, all 3 of my children under one roof. Like, oh my God. And my 2 grandchildren. Oh my God, I got to hear my son being a father in the good times and the bad times. I was so proud. I got to see how the 2 brothers got along, how they cared for their sister, how they cared for me. And we've started our own strong family unit, just us. California, who are those people that were my relatives there? I don't know, but here is my family. So there were so many blessings and so many skills that I really had to learn along the way, and I'm still learning because I'm still trying to get settled here. Now, I'm telling you, Tennessee's beautiful, and I love all the rain, and I love all the greenness, and all the things I see out here, and the animals that I did not see when I lived in the desert out in California, you know. And so I'm so blessed now, and I've had so many encounters. I don't know how many stories I could share with you guys about how Spirit really actually had my back if I'd only paid attention along the way. In fact, the whole move, let me tell you, the whole move, why I had to move in the first place was because I had outgrown that place. I had outgrown being under my mother. We had the classic narcissist empath relationship. Okay, now that's not to say narcissists are bad and that empaths are weak. No, no, no. But there is a classic relationship that we fell into, and it was not working for me. But learning all my skills, I had grown past that. And when I started learning to read the Akashic Records, Emily told me one day that I had burned up all my family karma. And in that instant, I could see, oh my God, I'm going to have to move by about October. And I looked around my house and that's not going to happen, you know, and I forgot about it. And then what happened? I ended up moving in November, you know, so it did happen. But there was so much support along the way. I don't know how many stories to tell you guys.
Take us, Teresa, tell us about if there was one particular moment when you were in that realization of where it just kind of all hit you and you said, oh, I'm not alone. Spirit is here. Like, what was that like for you?
Well, the one that's coming to my mind right now, the one moment, okay, here's a little story. I have to tell you guys a story. I thought I was losing my mind, which usually happens before you come to realizations. And I had just gotten a piece of copper. And for some reason, my mind, my intuition kept telling me to put my copper with my Amazonite. And I thought, oh my God, I have to move. I have to find a house. And all I could think of is playing with rocks. You know, and it was driving me nuts. And somebody told me, oh, by the way, Archangel Gabriel's working with you. It's like, okay, fine. So I wrote it down. I look up Archangel Gabriel, Google it. And so when I Googled it, do you know what stone is one of the stones that Archangel Gabriel works with? Copper, you know? That makes sense. And the amethyst is with Mott, who also I work with, the goddess Mott. But the two of these together, Gabriel was giving me my voice and my strength to make it. And when you Google Gabriel, Gabriel helps you with big decisions you got to make and quick decisions. And so, oh my God, I was sitting there like when you gave me that reading, I'm crying out, I demand this help now. I need it. I need it. Well, they did. They sent Gabriel. It's like, oh my God. Because I think that's the moment I started realizing, okay, there's something going on here. And then I started doing cord cutting with my house because it was my grandmother's before me. And I did cording, so I called in Archangel Michael. And then I had to go through a lot of healing with Mott. You know, she has a healing retreat that I go to, and I get a lot of healing from Mott, and I was seeing it. But the moment also was when I was there. As an introvert, I'd stay in my room at my son's house, but I can hear the family. And hearing my family all together and getting to meet my grandson for the first time and being there with my sons and my daughter and my family, it was, oh my God, Spirit has brought me to my family. Would I ever saved up to come out here to Nashville? No. Would have I ever done that? No. But Spirit put me here. Oh my God. So how can I be more thankful? You know what I mean? That was such an awesome thing. So I guess those are the two moments when I realized Gabriel is working with me, and then I realized that the blessing of being put where I was. Because sometimes you have to make that leap, like when you get kicked out of the nest and you don't know what's going. Spirit has our back, man. Okay, we're right there, and we got it. And then I immediately had to start working with Zadkiel to help with forgiveness and the compassion with the family back home. I still don't want to hang around none of them, okay? But I had, for my spiritual sake, I had to forgive everything that happened, including losing my dogs, because that's the part I want to stay mad at. Remember, I keep thinking I have a threshold and I could, after that, okay, even though I lost my dogs and they had every right to stay with us, they were my family, it's okay. I could forgive my mom, I could forgive my sisters, and I could forgive myself for not realizing Spirit had my back sooner, you know?
There's that compassion for yourself we were just talking about.
Yes, it's true.
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say, once again, we picked a hot topic that went along with the thing, and we didn't even realize that at the time. But my question to you, Teresa, is, and going through all of this and through the process of having Spirit come in and begin working with you, was it something that you did? What was the aha moment that that's what was happening? Was it something that you just instantly knew that that was what was going on? Or was it something that, like, did they shake? Like, for me, my very first experience with working with Archangel Michael was I felt like he was taking me and shaking me, going, "Are you listening to me?" And I know that's not what he was saying, but I feel like that's what he was thinking. "Are you listening to me?" And then that's when I kind of like, and like you talked earlier about, you thought you were losing your mind, that you just couldn't think. And I remember in that moment thinking, wow, I can't even think. How am I supposed to even know if somebody's even got my back and working with me? So I'm telling a story to ask a question. Sorry. But was it something kind of similar to that? Did you know, or did you feel like they were just like, they were screaming at you? If that makes sense.
No, I did not know. I was feeling way too sorry for myself to know, which is my other default, as I go back to feeling sorry for myself too easily, and I didn't know. And I keep coming back to Jessica. So Jessica, you had to be an important part of this. When you gave me that reading one day, and you pulled a card and told me, to stop demanding all the help I wanted and stuff. If that wasn't like a wake-up call right there were many little wake-up calls, but like I said, I thought I had every right to feel sorry for myself and to be angry because of everything I was losing. And why am I being kicked out except for bettering myself, for becoming a light worker? Who are you to kick me out when I'm just now finally becoming who I really am? I thought it was the most beautiful time. I thought our relationship would be closer, but wrong. So Spirit had to shake me up a lot. And maybe, can I tell you, there was a funny feeling when I was on that airplane. Once we hit like 30,000 feet, I felt up through my feet and rising up into my body. I could feel all the prayers that everybody was praying for me. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, there must be a prayer zone around the earth. It must be at that 30,000 foot level or something. I mean, if anybody else ever feels that, let me know. But I could feel it all coming up through my feet and all of that. So I think that's when I had to resolve, looking out there and say, okay, California, don't know if I'll ever see you again, and all these time zones going by me, boom. And here we landed in Nashville at night. And it's like, Nashville, oh my God, it's nothing but country music. Well, I live here. And stuff. But I had to be shook a lot, like you. And then most of this wasn't a realization in the moment. A lot of it's hindsight, looking back. Mm-hmm. Looking back and seeing all the blessing. And that's why I kind of feel this story's still ongoing. Because did Spirit really bring me here to be with my sons, or is there more purpose why I was moved out here? Is there a greater reaching out that I need to do? I still don't know yet, but I'm still here working on myself. I'm being in full gratitude for everything. I'm learning gratitude, So, yeah, I'm not an easy waker-upper.
Me either.
As I said, I don't think many of us are around. So you actually answered, I was going to ask how the plane ride was, but you kind of answered that. I was like, she took my question.
Yeah, I didn't get to sit with my daughter. I had to sit by myself with other people. And being an introvert is like, okay, do you think they'll notice me opening my Akashic records and
So is that what you were doing on the plane ride? Was just doing what you could for yourself?
I didn't know if it was right or not to ground myself when I'm on an airplane, because what would that do? You know what I mean?
Ground yourself on the ground.
I didn't know, would that be counterproductive to going and stuff. But I spent the whole time meditating and trying to be small, because they're small seats. Mm-hmm.
Yes, they are small seats. Now, when you were saying, like, okay, so you went through the motion of, like, you felt through your feet and stuff like that, you felt the prayers and stuff like that. What was your immediate physical reaction to that? Like, did you break down?
I cried. I did.
Okay.
I totally cried. And I probably cried a lot. It probably let loose more of the tears that I was having and stuff. Because that was California. That was my home, man. I've never been. I mean, I've been out of the state, but I was born there, raised there. That was my home. And I felt a little rejected even by California. Why couldn't I find a home there and stuff? And I felt the prayers of specific people, and their faces came to me. Okay, so not only was there like a human collective thought out there, well, I could feel the individuals within the collective. And it's like, wow, Sonia's there praying for me. Oh my God, I could feel Rhonda's prayer. Oh my God, and it was like, whoa, okay, this is cool, and so now I'm feeling high.
So is that the point that you were able to start to let go of that old story you had of California, and you knew at that point on the plane, you know what, I'm going somewhere new, and this is going to be I'm rewriting my story now?
No, I was rebellious even after I got here. I'm not settling in Tennessee. Oh my God. Ask me anywhere in the world I want to go. This is not on the top 100. Okay? I'm not. But now I've come to see the beauty that's here that's not. And California's, why they call it Golden California is because by April, everything turns brown. Everything's dead already, okay? And here I am in this area that's so green. We get rain almost every other week, and it's beautiful, and there's a creek. Oh my God, there's a creek I get to walk to, and I collect the neatest stones at that creek. I first started collecting hackstones, and then I started collecting coral, actual coral, and I looked it up and Googled 415 million years ago, Tennessee was under the ocean. And that's why I'm finding all this coral. It's like, oh my God, who knew all this? So I'm having so much fun. I think I'm adjusting now. So no, I did not adjust right away, even with the realizations. I was bitter toward California for not being affordable and finding a home and losing my dogs. And I got here and everybody's got accents and they're talking to me. Can I help you to your car, ma'am? I mean, there's no grocery stores where I'm at. My phone didn't work, my cell phone. And then everybody wants to help you. And it's like, oh my God, in California, we backed our own groceries and we didn't use plastic. We used the other, recyclable things. And I have to shop at a store called Piggly Wiggly's. Like, oh my God, what is this place? So yeah, I took a lot of adjusting. Thank God, Zadkiel, really, I think he helped me with a lot of that too. And by the way, Johnny Cash is one of my spirit guides. I have to wonder, is there a reason why Johnny Cash is my spirit guide now? Like, oh my God, Nashville. So, okay, maybe there is a connection. So, yeah, I can look back and pick out so much times where spirit is there for me. But it took me a while to realize it. Boom, it was hard.
That's what I wanted to ask you. Has the music changed? Your opinion on the music has changed since you've been there now?
No, not at all. Not at all.
No?
No. I'm not. Okay, my son in the car listens to a pop station which plays popular songs, and some of my kind of music goes on there, and I like that. I like alternative. And then in my daughter-in-law's car, she says, okay, we got to get grandma used to country. So she plays country, but it's not all that bad. I mean, I haven't dived out of the car yet, okay? So, it's like a lot better than it was back when I was growing up. I don't know. Did I really say that? But anyway,
She's having more compassion for the country music now.
There I go. Like me, But my radio station that I had in California, that was our favorite radio station, it died slightly before I had to move. But I had won so many concert tickets, and I sat front row at the best concerts with my daughter so many times. I don't mean sat front row, stood, because, when you're there standing. But when that radio station died, another radio station came out, and it's an app on the internet now. And so I could still listen to my favorite friends who knew me by name, okay? I could still listen to them. And every Saturday I listen to my alternative countdown religiously. just to keep myself sure that I ain't going country. No. But I've learned to say yonder. That's always been in my family. Down yonder, I use it, and y'all. Some of it's coming out, but I'm still all right. No.
I love it.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh.
Well, maybe with Johnny Cash being your spirit guide, he will guide you into the more of the country stuff because he was.
Oh my goodness.
Country.
Well, Johnny Cash is acceptable, okay? Because he's got a lot. You know, I grew up with him, and his music. Oh my God, they even play him on that radio app I tell you about. Now and then you hear Johnny Cash because Johnny Cash is just, you know, way cool.
He is way cool.
I've heard his songs redone in more of like a
9 Inch
Wait.
Nails. Yeah.
yeah.
I know that one. Yeah.
Oh, you know it.
Yeah, heard that one. Yeah, it's beautiful. And somebody else remade one of Johnny Cash's songs too. I can't remember who that was. I thought it was a trade-off, but it was somebody else. And so
Yeah, I know. I
you know what I'm talking about?
I do. Yeah. It's like on the like
A Ring of Fire. What
Yeah.
was it? That one? I think it was. I can't. It almost came to me, and I forgot it again. But yeah,
I'm trying to remember who did it, but
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Teresa, you've talked about you know, still kind of working through things now. What's next for you? What's on the horizon for Teresa right now?
Coming out of my shell, going out there and talking to neighbors and stuff. It's hard because I'm in the Bible Belt now, and I'm still me, you know, magical unicorn over there. You know what I mean? You know, here, God, I told you about my dragon lately, and so I've been afraid to reach out to these people, and I'm, you know, what's going to happen to me? Are they going to burn me or what? And so my next thing is to actually make a friend other than the people at the Piggly Wigglies, you know. So I think that's next as far as settling here. And as far as I'm going, so many fun things are happening. You know, we make up these meditations that are cool and things. So my spiritual life is moving on. And it's mostly because I worked so hard on all that forgiveness, or else I would be still stuck feeling sorry for myself and all that. So, oh my God, I'm so thankful for all the help to get out of that. Oh, that ugliness.
Have you gained any wisdom from the Akashic Records that about this whole situation that you've been through that you could share with everybody?
Actually, what Emily told me, okay, Emily, Eric, you know, all of you, all my friends were going through this with me as I went through it. Emily couldn't figure out, well, why is this happening? And so she asked my Akashic Records why this was happening. And this whole thing was planned before I incarnated. And as far as my dogs go, their contract with me terminated when I had to move. It was their choice if they were going to live and go on to somebody else or allow themselves to be put to sleep. It's not an accident. And so that took a lot of the scary out of it for me and things. And knowing that my pets will always be with me and they come to me in all my dreams. So, so the Akashas kind of put me at ease by showing me this was part of my plan. And now that I know that it's part of my plan, I think there's more for me. Sure, my family, this is the benefits, but I think I've been put here for a reason. I think I'm here to assist with whatever's going on, you know, the ascension of the planet, whatever is here. Somewhere it's going to happen. And in fact, I've heard that when we had Diana Cooper on my show, she pulled a card for me from her deck before the show and told me that Archangel Metatron is working with me to bring peoples together. And so I think there's going to be something with my unique understanding of things and the way I see things, my perceptions. I think I'm going to help to bring different peoples together, and I have to do it here.
And I think that's what I've always loved about you, Teresa, is that you really, because I've gotten to see Teresa, California Teresa, and I've gotten to see the transition and everything that happened over time, and you settling in, because we had very similar stories in that way, coming from a very different place and settling here in the South, and so it's been throughout all of that. You have Teresa remain Teresa.
Yes.
And even though you're growing and you're changing and you're shifting into the person that you're supposed to be, you're still Teresa, and you don't, and I love that about you. I love that the Teresa today is the same Teresa that I met, last year. And so we are so thankful that you have shared your story with us on the show today. We are so thankful that you've given us your time and allowed us to have some fun with you and pick your brain with our questions as well. But thank you so much for being here, Teresa. We appreciate you.
Thank you. It was so much fun. Thank you for asking.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So, ladies, that means that it is time for our roundtable discussion. Oh my gosh. Like I mentioned, so much of Teresa's story is in the end part of it of just kind of navigating our way around a place that is so different from what we're used to. It's my story too, and I know a lot of us have experienced that as well. My biggest takeaway as well, I think when Teresa was talking about paying attention to how everything that she's kind of realized has been kind of hindsight, and how she said at one point, if I would have just paid attention, to the signs that were there, I think that's that's my biggest takeaway from Teresa's story, is just how important the mindfulness is. If we just pay attention to what's going on in this present moment, we can heal so much of where we've been. We can move in the direction with much more ease of where we're supposed to go, and we won't feel alone, because we'll know that whatever your belief system is, whether you believe in God, spirit, the universe, your own higher power, however you feel about spirit, you have that connection there. If you just look at the signs, if you just see what's right in front of you in this moment. So that was my biggest takeaway. What about you, Donna?
Well, you took mine away.
I'm sorry.
You took her takeaway away.
Because that was one of my big takeaways. But another thing too, and this really isn't a takeaway per se, except I think she said something I needed to hear today. And that was talking about her dog and having to get rid of her dog. And back in December, we had to put a dog down because it was attacking one of our dogs, and it was attacking me. And I didn't realize at the time. I was very upset about it, and I was very hurt, and I was very attached to the dog as we get. But I didn't realize until this week how much I was still holding on to that. And then when you started talking about that, the tears started coming up, and I was like, and I'm going to cry, so we're going to go to Heather now.
And so we're done. Yeah, like one of the biggest things, so it resonated with me because I was that person that was a show me and then I'll believe. As opposed to believe and then you'll show me.
Yeah.
And when she was like, basically saying like, oh, wow, you need to show me, why can't you, kind of deal, like I remember going through that not too long ago and just being like, oh wait, I have to believe that believing thing first. And then you'll show me. Oh, right. Because I'm very logical. I'm very, I grew up very logical with a logical family, tangible,
You don't
results.
Say. You're not like
I know,
that.
Right? I know it's hard to believe. I know, I understand. But recently, being with the whole, okay, so if I believe that it can, and I believe that this is going to be better, and I believe that that I'm not alone, even when I feel physically alone, I'm not, because I always have somebody that's with me, that I always have the angels, whatever you want to consider it, like you said, whether it's God, whether it's spirit, whether it's the universe, whether it's your angels, your fairies, whatever your belief is, you're never alone, no matter what. Even at the points where, those dark times where you feel like you are the darkest you can go, you are still not alone. There's somebody there to listen, and if you just believe in that, then you will see. So yeah, that was the biggest part that I took away, was the fact of, it's going back to that, believe it, and then you'll see.
I love that. How about you, Tara? What's your takeaways from Teresa's story today?
Well, I love that she shared about the transition from coming, like she's saying in California, like I listened to rock music, you know, like all these things that you're so familiar to, and to being, you know, I guess it's that attachment to those things, and having to release that attachment to those things and be open to, you know, the new and what's available. And so I think it was kind of interesting because, you know, I'm born and raised I'm in the same place. Like, I mean, I'm not in the same town, city, but I was born in this province. I grew up here. I've always been here. My family, same thing, like family's been here. Some have spread around and stuff. So this is a very like home place for me. Mm-hmm. And so I think that, you know, you have that subconscious, like those attachments and things like that. And it's, you know, it's always going to be there. I'd be curious to know if you had your Akashic records, like, did you find out anything in, you know, like a past life of living in a different part other than, you know, California? I think that would have been really cool. Mm. I didn't think of it at the time though, but yeah, no. So
bring her back for another episode.
I know. We'll have Teresa come back for sure and share with us about her more experiences with the Akashic records as well. It's definitely something that would be interesting to know. I think so much of, you know, it's important for us to remember as we experiencing sometimes these blows that are life-changing, that when things happen that, you know, it can be hard in the moment, but just to keep grounded and realize that what's going on is for our highest good. It's to play into what we're here to learn and what we're here to help other people with, etc. And I remember doing that reading with Teresa that she referred to a couple of times, and it really, I remember just feeling, you know, we get so anxious when stuff isn't going our way, you know, and it's not, we put all these expectations on things of this is how my life is supposed to go. And when it doesn't go that way, we panic, especially when, listen, if we have kids to take care of, if we have big responsibilities and suddenly we out of money, we out of time, we out of all these things that are kind of a necessity, you know, we can get in this place of panic. And so I just remember, you know, and Teresa's reading wasn't the first one. There's been a few others that I've done where it's just this feeling like, I know that this is hard to hear in the moment, but you just have to have faith right now that this is for your highest good. And if we're calm about it and ask for, ask for things from a child. If we're calm about it and ask for what you want nicely, like my daughter just did with me, then we're more likely to attract those things that are calm and for our highest good. If we are freaking out, we're probably not going to get what we expect from that. So I think that's a really important thing to remember too.
Well, I think you're right. It's just that surrendering and just allowing what's meant to happen to unfold. And I think stay in a place of gratitude so that you can manifest at a higher level, and just know just that trust and that knowing, but just surrendering and being like, okay, fine. What's happening now? Show me.
Yeah. It was like last week on this show when nothing went right. We were kind of just like, okay, fine. Whatever.
You show us whatever you want anyways.
That's not easy to do. For any of you guys that, you know, you feel like, well, that's really hard for me. That's a practice. That is something that I like on a day-to-day basis. I have to say to myself, you know, I stubbed my toe. No, Jessica, you don't need to go Google that.
Well, and the other cool thing too is once you practice it and you grow tools with it, and so then when something happens like you stub your toe, you have the tool to go, wait a minute, I don't need to go Google that.
Right.
I know this is what's going on. So I think where people get frustrated in the time is they're not practicing it, so it's not their first thought, and then they get mad at themselves because it wasn't their first thought, and it's
Right.
like, but it's not going to be your first thought until you work it. It's like learning a new job. You don't know all the answers to the job until you learn it and you practice it and you work with it. And so I think that the big takeaway that I think people really need to understand is that there's practice, and it's something that you practice every day, and sometimes you practice it every 5 minutes. I mean, I've had days where every 5 minutes I'm having to go breathe on and listen to your breath and calm down and what's going on, So, and that's okay. And then some days you can go and you instantly think about it and reward yourself for that. I had a client yesterday that was going on and on about something going on in her life. And I finally said, can I interrupt you for a minute? You need to pat yourself on the back, because I don't think you realize how much you've grown in just the last 3 weeks. And she was like, no, I haven't. No, I haven't. And I was like, yes, you have. And so then I started, naming everything that she had just told me. I stopped and did this. I stopped and took a breath and went inside before I answered my child. And she was like, oh, I did not even realize that. So it's funny how we get so wrapped up in what's going on in the moment that we don't think about those things until either somebody brings it to our attention or we sit back and look at what just happened in our lives. So sorry, that was a long drawn out story.
That's okay. That's why we're here.
I felt like it needed to come out, so I just went with it. Talk about going
Listen, we warned everybody when we started this show of the possibility and likelihood of rabbit holes, and we will fulfill that until the day we don't do this show anymore. We will still be going down rabbit holes. Always. Oh my gosh! So we are actually at the end of the show. Boo.
No.
I know.
I have more rabbit holes for us to go down.
More rabbit holes. So I want to thank Teresa Warren for being our fabulous guest on the show today. I want to thank our beautiful panelists, Heather Clark, a declutter coach and consultant, and Tara Abram, our meditation teacher, designer, photographer, all the things, who did amazing jobs as panelists today on The Breakthrough. And I, of course, want to thank all of you for being here with us, whether live or on the replay. We are so thankful that you have been compassionate to us today and shown up and taken part in the show. So until next time, my name is Jessica Dugas, intuitive mentor and energy healer.
And I'm Donna Brown, holistic wellness practitioner. And this has been The Breakthrough. Join us next week when we have again our two lovely panelists down here, wherever they are. Heather Clark, decluttered expert. I'm not going to go into all that. And Tara Abram, our Juicy Living design, just because I like to say Juicy Living, so I had to do it. Sorry about that, Tara. And then our guest next week is going to be Tina Hines, life coach, life transformation specialist, and she shares her breakthrough moment in the depression diagnosis. And is that it? Is that what you told?
It's going to be a great show. It's going to be a great show next week, because I think a lot of people can really have maybe gotten a diagnosis of one thing or another and are either struggling with that now or have or need some encouragement in that area. So I'm really excited to talk to Tina next week too.
I'm excited about that one too, because I've had depression issues in the past, long before my transformation. So that'll be a good episode.
Yes,
so,
for sure.
With that being said, we look forward to seeing each and every one of you next week. Same time, same place, 12 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. So, till next time, bye for now.
Bye, everybody.